we are going to derive the static load flow equations. Okay, right. Let us consider a power system network, so which consisting of 5 buses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are total 5 buses here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are the 5 buses. At each bus, what are the parameters specified are also given here. If you consider the first bus, so here you are having only the generator. Only generator is connected to bus number 1, so that the power generated, real power and reactive power generated by this first bus is Pg1 and Qg1, and this real power and reactive power will be fed into the bus. Okay, so similarly for the second bus, if you observe the second bus, now here for the second bus, so there is a generator as well as there is a load also. Okay, so now in the second bus, generator and load both are connected, and this generator will generate the power Pg2, Qg2, and load will receive the power which is PL2 and QL2. So this suffix 2 represents the second bus, right? So similarly, if you observe the third bus, right? So at the third bus also, it is connected to one generator and one load. Okay, so generated power at third bus is Pg3 and Qg3, and power received by the loads are PL3 and QL3. So in a similar way, so there is a fourth bus, right? At the fourth bus, you are not having the generator. Okay, at the fourth bus, you are connected only load. So that means at this fourth bus, so there is no power injection. So there is only power delivery is only there. So that means those loads are only connected. So no generator is connected at fourth bus as well as fifth bus also. Right. So the power taken by the fourth bus is given as PL4 and QL4, and at fifth bus it is PL5 and QL5. Okay. So now there are five transmission lines between first and second bus L1, and first and third bus L2, and L3 transmission line L3 is between the buses 2 and 3, and L4 between 2 and 4, and L5 between 4 and 5, and L6 between 3 and 6. So this is the power system network, and if you observe this power system network, so there are 5 buses. Now every bus, so every bus is connected with either generator or load. Okay, generator delivers the power to the power, reactive power and active power both into the bus, and load will take the power from the bus. Okay, right. Now only you consider only one single bus and you analyze it. Right. So I am taking only one bus. Okay, so if you observe the power flow at one bus, so now I am taking, let us take bus K. So right, so this is bus K. I am taking only one bus. At this bus, the voltage specified voltage given is Vk. So which is Vk this voltage is a complex voltage. So it will be having magnitude and phase angle, and magnitude is Vk and angle is delta K. Okay, so at bus K, you are considering bus K. At this bus, voltage is specified here, and a generator is connected to the bus. Right, this generator will supply the power to the bus. That means, right, so this power generated is both active as well as reactive power. So reactive power generated and supplied to the bus K is PGK and QGK. So these are generated power and active power and reactive power. So those two are fed into the bus. Now the same bus is connected to load also. right, is connected to a load. The load will take the power, right? That power taken by the load is PLK. So the K means the bus number here. Okay, PLK and QLK. So this is the PGK and PQGK are power generated, and PLK and QLK are power received by the load at kth bus. Now, if you observe the power injection, so this is injected power. Okay, so this is injected power into the bus. Okay, so now this injected power PK ఏమవుతుంది ఇక్కడ? So here you are generating the power, and some amount of generated power is taken by the load, and the remaining will be fed to these lines into the bus, right? So this power injected into the transmission lines or injected power PK is equal to, so this generated power, generated active power PGK, which is generated by the generator, minus PLK, right? So that means PGK minus PK after this is the injected power into the bus, right? In a similar way, reactive power injected into the bus is QK, which is generation minus demand at that bus. Okay, generated reactive power QGK minus QLK, receiving power by the load. So if you subtract this, the remaining power will be QK, which is injected into the bus, so that that remaining power will be transmitted to other buses. Okay, right? So now this total thing, we can represent it as two powers. So power injected PK and QK. So this is in the second diagram, right? At bus K, PK and QK. So these two are the injected powers. PK is injected power, active power. QK is injected reactive power. Okay. So now this injected power will be transferred to all these three lines which are connected to that bus. So there are three transmission lines which are connected to the kth bus, right? Now this power injected will be transmitted to all these three buses, right? So that means this PK is equal to PKM. So here there are, this bus is this bus is M, and this bus is J, and this bus is I. So that means this bus K is connected to bus I through this transmission line, right? And bus K is connected to bus J through this transmission line, and bus K is connected to bus M through this transmission line, and the power will be delivered through these transmission lines, right? So now if you write the PK, injected power PK, in terms of other transmitted powers, so then this PK is equal to sum of all these powers, active powers of all the buses. Okay, so this one PK is equal to PKI. So how much amount of power this kth bus is delivered to ith bus? In a similar way, how much amount of active power is delivered by the bus K to jth bus and for mth bus? Sum of all these active powers will be equal to bus injected power at bus K. Okay, similarly the reactive power also, QK is the bus injected power at bus K. Okay, injected power at bus K, which is reactive power. So this is equal to sum of all the powers received by the other buses which are connected to this bus K. So QKI plus QKJ plus QKM. Okay, right? Are you understood? So here what I want to say here is, every bus is having either generator or load connected to it, right? So if you are having generator and load at the same bus, so then generator will generate the active and reactive power, and the load will take the active and reactive power, some amount of active and reactive power, and the remaining amount, which is PK, QK, these are the remaining amount. So that remaining amount will be fed into the system through transmission lines to other buses. Okay, so now, so these powers, the remaining powers, these powers are called injected powers. So K represents the particular bus number. So if it is ith bus, you may represent it as PIK, QI. Okay, right? So this injected power is equal to sum of the all the active powers which are connected to which are connected to that bus. Okay, so that means kth bus is delivering the remaining power to bus I, J and M. So sum of powers received by all those buses according to KCL, this sum of all the powers is equal to input power, which is Pk. So this is what I want to say. Okay, right, go to the next slide. Okay, so now let us derive the static load flow equations now. Static load flow equations. So now while modeling the a power system network, so we were derived this equation, which is I bus is equal to Y bus into V bus. Okay, so while modeling a network, we got this equation, which is I bus is equal to Y bus into V bus, right? So now this I bus is a vector of current injections at buses, so which is n by 1 vector. So this is n by 1 vector. If there are n number of buses, the number of buses in the system are n, so that then this I bus will be represented with a n by 1 vector, which are injected currents. Okay, so now Y bus, and Y bus here is bus admittance matrix, and the order of this Y bus is n by n, right? So and V bus is the voltage bus, right? Vector of complex voltages, right? So this is also of the order of n by 1. Okay, now from this equation, I bus is equal to Y bus into V bus. Suppose let us if you assume there are two buses, so then from this you can write two equations. So that means you will be having I1, I2. So this vector, current vector at these two buses. So this is one vector. So this is equal to Y bus. So Y bus is a 2 by 2. As you are considering it is a 2 bus system, you will be having 4 elements into another voltage vector V1, V2. Okay. So now this is Y, elements of the Y bus are Y11. So this is Y12 and this is Y13. This is Y14. Right. So if you consider a 2 bus system, so this equation can be written like this. So from this what you can write, I1 is equal to, so from this you can write it as I1 is equal to Y11 into V1 plus Y12 into V2. Okay, so I2 is equal to next Y13 into V1 plus Y14 into V2, like that you will get. Okay, so if you write I2 expression, I2, so this will be, so Y13 into V1 plus Y14 into V2 you will get. So these are the equations for a 2 bus system. So like that, suppose if you write for n bus system, how these equations can be written, right? This I1 can be written as in other form as I is equal to, so like this. So this equation, current injected at ith bus, I, current injected at bus I is equal to sum of j which is equal to 1 to n. So from bus 1 to bus n, sum of 1 to n by ij plus vj. Okay, so from this equation you can write the current for n bus system as, so current injected at only one bus, ith bus, that is ith bus. So this is the bus injected at ith bus, which is equal to sum of j is equal to 1 to n Yij Vj. So now, so this same system. Right. My voice mute cheyandi. I'm getting the disturbance. Okay. Okay, right. So from this equation, right? So from this equation, it is the current injected at a bus I. Now, if you want, if you take a two bus system, same. If you take a two bus system, so that means n is equal to 2. So then from this equation, what you can write? I2 can be written as sigma j is equal to 1, sigma, so j is equal to 1 to n here is 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. So y ij, so ij, I here is you are writing for second one. So this is y2j into vj. Okay. So now if you expand this, what you will get? So for j is equal to 1, you will get y21. So this is y21 vj is 1. So y21 v1 plus y2 j now second time will become 2, y22 v2. Okay. So this we will get I2 is equal to. So now this, if you observe this, right. Oh, sorry here. So order this elements are y11, y12. So then y21, y21, y22 here, y21, y22. So this will be y21. This is y22. Okay. So now this and this will same now, right? I2 is equal to y21 v1, y21 v1, y22 v2, y22 v2. Okay. These two are same. So this equation is valid now. Okay, like that, by using this equation, you can know the current injected at any bus for a n bus system. Okay, is it understood? Right. So now this is same as this equation. Okay, I from this equation, I bus is equal to y bus into v bus. We are writing, so this I bus is a vector of this all the currents are all the current injected into the buses. If it is n bus system, I1, I2, In you will have. So now each element I1 is equal to, so what is this? I1 enta, I2 enta, right? So that means let us take a ith bus. So I am taking ith bus. So what is the current at ith bus? So that current will be I is equal to sigma n is equal to 1 to n Yij Vj. Okay, you have to remember this equation. So this is current injected at ith bus. Okay, right. So make it. Is there any doubt here? Respond in chat box. So is there any doubt while getting this equation? How you got this equation? Are you clear? So if you clear with this equation, we will proceed to the next slide. Okay, right. So we will move on to the next slide. So next slide, we are going to derive the static load flow equations here. Okay. So now, so to derive the the complex power injected by the generator source into the ith bus is given by SI is equal to PI plus JQI. right? So suppose if you take bus I, right, and when this by bus I is connected to a generator, and if it is connected to a load, right? So now what is the injected power? So ఇంతకు ముందు మనం ఏం చెప్తాం, pk అన్నాం కదా. So k here is the bus number, right? So as I am considering now ith bus instead of kth bus, so these are pk, sorry, pi and qi you will get. Okay, so pi qi are the injected active power and injected reactive power at ith bus. So you remember this, injected power is not same as the generated power. So in pi injected power at ith bus, it is not the generator current, generated power. So this is the difference of generated power at ith bus minus load demanded by the ith bus, right? Is load, the power received by the load which is connected to the ith bus. The difference, this difference is the injected power. This is pi. Okay, so similarly injected reactive power qi is so difference of reactive power generated by the generated at ith bus qgi minus reactive power taken by the load at ith bus, so taken by the load qli. So this is the qi, injected reactive power. Okay, so mostly we will speak about these powers only, injected active power and injected reactive powers. Okay, so you remember that this injected powers are the difference of generated power minus load received power. Okay, right. So now at this bus I as I am considering here the bus I, right, at this bus I am writing the equation, complex power equation. Okay, complex power which is injected by the generator at ith bus, right? Si, complex power is represented with S, which is equal to P plus jqi. So sum of active power and reactive power. So this is called the apparent power, which is a complex power. Okay, so that complex power is represented at injected at the ith bus is pi si is equal to pi plus jqi. So in another form you can also write it as, suppose if you know, if your voltage at this bus is vi and current injected by the bus is ii, so then this complex power, complex apparent power S can be written as vi into ii conjugate. Okay, so what here we are written, so vi into ii conjugate. What this conjugate represent? So generally all the power, most of the power, 90% of loads are inductive loads only in the power system. You are having most of the loads are inductive. So right, so the current is always lagging. Current I is equal to magnitude of I at an angle of minus theta you will get. Okay, so to eliminate this minus, so you are writing it as a conjugate. Okay, you can represent it conjugate. So the complex power is always represented with vi into ii conjugate. Okay, so this is the injected active power at ith bus, right? So then next, so here vi is the voltage at the ith bus with reference to the ground. Ii is the complex conjugate of source current, a source current I which is injected into the bus. Now here it is convenient to handle the load flow problem by using ii rather than ii conjugate. Instead of taking the current for current to the conjugate of current, right, you have to take ii. So taking the complex conjugate of the equation number 1. So now here in the first equation, if you observe, your complex power injected into the ith bus SI is can be written as Vi into ii conjugate. So now so to eliminate the conjugate for ii, I'm conjugating both sides, here and here, both sides you take the conjugate, so that what we will get, SI conjugate is equal to Vi conjugate into ii conjugate of conjugate, so that ii you will get. Okay, Vi conjugate into I you will get, which is SI conjugate, right? So now SI is here is PI plus JQI. So SI is PI plus JQI. If you take the conjugate for this, you will get PI minus JQI, this one. So SI conjugate is PI minus JQI, which is equal to VI conjugate into II conjugate, right? So here this II is nothing but number of buses, first bus, second bus, third bus, up to n buses, right? I'm writing the complex power injected at ith bus, okay? So that I may be 1 to n. Now you know that what is this II? Sigma of k is equal to 1 to n yik vk. So in the previous slide, we were discussed here, right? If you go to the previous slide, right? So here, if you observe here, so what is your II here? You can be written as sigma j is equal to 1 to n yik yij vj. So instead of j, I am taking here k. So suppose if you take the y sigma k is equal to 1 to n, so then v yik vk you will get. Okay, so the notation changed in the next slide, right? So this equation I am going to substitute in place of II. Okay, right. So move on to the next slide. So now here, in place of II, you are going to substitute that equation. In place of this II, you are going to use this sigma k is equal to 1 to n yik vk. So now if you substitute this equation here, so then complex power SI conjugate, you will get what is VI conjugate into sigma k is equal to 1 to n yik vk. Okay, so this is the conjugate of complex power at ith bus, right? Next, now here in the previous slide, so the SI, so SI is the complex power. Okay, SI conjugate another. So in the previous slide, you are having SI conjugate, so which is equal to PI minus JQI, PI minus JQI, so which is equal to VI conjugate into sigma n is equal to 1 to n, so not n, k is equal to 1 to n, so yik, so this is k, and vk. So this is the previous slide equation. SI conjugate is PI minus JQI, VI conjugate and sigma k is equal to 1 to n yik vk, right? So now this power will be having both real power and reactive power, right? Real power is nothing but this is the real part of this SI, real part of this I, and the reactive power is imaginary part, right? So now if you want only the real power, which is PI, then you have to take the real value of this previous equation. Okay, real value of SI conjugate, which is this one. So real value of this total VI conjugate into sigma k is equal to 1 to n yik vk. In a similar way, if you want reactive power, right, so then minus of real part of this you will get, right? So you observe this equation. So if you observe the complex power equation SI conjugate, now here you are having the minus, right? That means minus QI is equal to this part, imaginary part of this, right? Then QI is equal to minus of imaginary part, right? This is not real, this is imaginary. IM ravali kada, right? Right? Reactive power QI is equal to minus imaginary part of this total one. Okay, so this is wrong, this is not real, so this is imaginary IM, so minus IM, so minus imaginary part of this total. Okay, So now here, so what is Vi, what is Yi, Ik, Vk? All these terms are, all these are voltage, and Yik is the element of the Y bus, right? And Vk is the voltage at the kth bus. So now voltage and these all are the complex values only, right? So now if you write them in polar form, you can write Vi as magnitude of Vi e power j delta I. Delta is the angle, or you can write like this also. Vi is equal to magnitude of Vi at an angle of delta I. Okay, so either you can write in this form or in this form. In the similar way, Y bus element Yik can be written as magnitude of Yik and e power j theta Ik. Okay, so e power j theta Ik, or you can write in this form also, right? Yik is equal to magnitude of Yik at an angle of theta Ik. Okay, right? Okay, so now this equation, how you can write in another form in terms of trigonometric equations. So this equation can be written as magnitude of Vi is into, so this e power j delta I can be written as cos delta I plus j sin delta I. You can write like this, no? Okay, so this equation we are writing in this form. Okay, Vi is equal to magnitude of Vi e power j delta I can be written as cos delta I plus j sin delta I. In the similar way, this equation also. So Yik is equal to magnitude of Yik, and e power j Ik can be written as cos theta Ik plus j sin theta Ik, like that you can write. Okay, trigonometric formula will write కదా, right? So this is Vi. So if you want for Vk, so Vk in place of Vk is equal to magnitude of Vk from the same equation. In place of I, you will get k, just magnitude of Vk cos del k plus j sin del k, like that you will get. Okay, so now if you observe this is real part and this is imaginary part. That means magnitude of Vi into cos del I, this is real part, and magnitude of Vi into sin del I is the imaginary part. So now to get the real power Pa and Qa, so now you have to separate them. Okay, real power. So this real power is real part of this total term, right? So now this Vi can be written as this magnitude of Vi into cos del I plus j sin delta I. So similarly, this Yik can be written as magnitude of Yik cos theta Ik plus j sin theta Ik. In a similar way, Vk can be written as magnitude of Vk cos delta k plus j sin delta k, like that you can write, like from this equation. Okay, so now if you represent all the terms in cosine or sine terms, so then how you can separate them? If you separate for this in this equation, you write the trigonometric form, so that so finally you will get one equation. From that equation, the real part is equal to your real power and imaginary part is equal to your reactive power. Imaginary power, this is not real. Okay, so now the real and reactive powers can now be expressed as these two equations. So real power is equal to, from the same equation, so this is real power Vi lo real part ఏంది Vi conjugate అంటున్నాం ఇక్కడ. So Vi conjugate is nothing but magnitude of Vi cos theta, sorry wait, so Vi, so ఇక్కడ Vi మనం ఏం రాసాం ఇందాక, so this Vi, right? So ఇందాక ఏం రాసాం, Vi is equal can be written as this magnitude of Vi cos del I plus j sin del I. So now here you are having in this equation you are having Vi conjugate, not Vi. So conjugate means, so this will become minus. Okay, so that means this Vi conjugate is equal to magnitude of Vi into cos del I minus j sin del I. Okay, right. So now only you take the real part. So real part only if you take, so this will be magnitude of Vi, right? So then cos delta I, cos delta I will get. So similarly for this also, yik can be written as magnitude of yk cos I theta plus j sin theta. In that you take, you remove the real part. So then in the similar way for vk, so vk is magnitude of vk cos del k plus j sin del k. Okay, so now if you separate only the real part from that, so then you will get the real power pi, so which is magnitude of vi sum of k is equal to 1 to n magnitude of vk magnitude of yik cos all of these, cos of theta ik plus del k minus del I will get. So if you separate the real imaginary part if you separate, so then you will get the reactive power qi, which is equal to minus of magnitude of vi sigma k is equal to 1 to n magnitude of vk yik sin theta ik plus del k minus del I you will get. So now these two are the power injected, real power injected and reactive power injected at the ith bus. So these two equations are called static load flow equations. Okay, so these are the static load flow equation. So this is about the derivation of your static load flow equations. Okay, right. Now here if you observe the equation, how many equations you are having? Two equations you are having. So now for only one bus, so if you take bus I, if you take bus I, you have active real power equation and reactive power equation, right? So like that you have n number of buses. If there are n number of buses, so then how many equations you will get? You will get a total equations 2n equations you will get. Okay, ante every bus, so bus 1, at bus 1 you will get real power and reactive power equations. At bus 2 also you will get the same 2 equations. Bus 3 also you will get 3 equations. Like that at a total n number of bus you will be having a total of 2n equations. Okay, out of these 2n equations, how many variables are there here? So voltage is one variable, active power reactive power is another two variables, and del angle is another variable. That means there are four variables, right? So four variables are there and 2n equations. Out of these four variables, two variables are specified and two variables you have to determine. Okay, so now those are all the variables are p, v, so q and delta. These are the four variables specified at any bus. Okay, so depending upon the bus type, so out of these four variables only two variables will be specified and the remaining two variables you have to find out from the load flow solution. Okay, right. So these two equations are the static load flow equations. So the next slide. Right, if you observe the characteristics of load flow equations, right? So the load flow equations are the algebraic equations. Okay, so now if you observe these load flow equations, so in this load flow, pi and qi, real power and reactive power, in these expressions, in the two expressions, you do not have the differential terms, d by dt, like that you don't have, right? Differential terms are not there in these two expressions. So these two equations are the called the algebraic equations. Okay, so if you observe the characteristics of load flow equations are algebraic equations and this is a static system. And second characteristic is that these load flow equations are non-linear. So now if you observe these two equations, you are having sine and cosine terms, right? Whenever there exists a sine and cosine term, the equations are said to be non-linear. Okay, so now in these load flow equations, static load flow equations, you are having sine and cosine terms. So these two equations are the nonlinear equations. Now to solve the nonlinear equations, you have to use the iterative techniques. Okay, iterative techniques you have to take, right? So now if you observe another term, another characteristic of load flow equations will be having P and Q in terms of V, delta, and by Y bus elements. Okay, so these load flow equation P and Q are expressed in terms of voltage and Y bus elements and angles delta. Okay, so these are the P and Q are function of voltage, load angle, and Y bus elements. So this is what here the third characteristic. Okay, PQ is the f of V delta. So these PQ are the function of V and delta, right? So now here there are four variables PQ, V, delta. Out of which two will be specified and two will be determined from the load flow solution. Okay, right? Observe here. So now what are the variables here? So now at every bus you may be connected with load. So if there are loads, you will be having PL and QL, and if there are generators, you will be having PZ and QZ. So these variables are load variables are uncontrolled variables. So load variables PL and QL are uncontrolled variables. Why loads are uncontrolled variables? So you don't know how much amount of load will be put on the system. So which variables? So the load on the system is not constant at each time. So the load on the system will every time it will changes. So you cannot control the load on the system. So because of that reason, these loads are called the load variables are called the uncontrolled variables, right? And generation variable PG and QG are controlled variables. Okay, so now you can control the generated active power and generated reactive power at substations. So you call them as controlled variables. And voltage which is expressed as a magnitude of voltage and angle. So these two, magnitude of voltage V, magnitude of voltage and delta, these two are the called the state variables. It will describe the state of that bus. Okay, these are the state variable. If you know these two variables, you can determine the any current flowing from current or active power injection, reactive power injection, everything. Okay, so you have to mainly determine the V, magnitude of V and delta at every bus in the system. Okay, so now for a given operating condition, these loads and generations at all the buses are known. Okay, for given operating condition, you will know the loads and generations and find the voltage magnitude and angle delta at each bus. So this is the load flow problem. Okay, now if you observe the load flow problem, there is a big problem is there. What is the problem with the load flow problem or load flow solution? Okay, so there is a problem in what is the problem? All the generated variables cannot be specified unless losses are known. Okay, so PA, so you know that generated power, to make how you can determine how much amount of generation should be there depending upon the demand. Okay, depending upon the demand, you will generate the power at the generating stations. Okay, so this generated power will be transmitted to the load, which is PL, you may also call it as PL, right, through the transmission lines. So if you know how much of load is there here, so that you can generate that much amount of power at the generating station and is transmitted through transmission lines. Okay, so now your generation must be equal to your demand at the load. Okay, so but transmission lines, at the transmission line you will be having some loss also due to resistance of the transmission line, there will be some loss. So this generated power must be equal to your power demanded by the load plus losses. Ante kada, right? So but this loss how much amount of loss will be there in transmission line. How you can calculate? The loss can be calculated only when you know the current flowing through the transmission line. So, but before the load flow solution, you cannot know the what is the current flowing through this transmission line. Unless you know the current flowing through that transmission line, you cannot determine the losses, right? If you cannot determine the losses, but even though if you know the power demand at the load, but you cannot know how much amount of generation you should do, right? How much you have to generate, you don't know unless you know the losses. Okay, so this is the a big problem in the load flow solution. Okay, what are you getting? So I will explain again. So you're having the PG, which is generated power, and you are having the PL, PG generated power, and PL load power, load demanded power, right? The generated power will be transmitted to the load through transmission lines. So in the transmission line, there will be some loss. So suppose if you know the load demand, మనకి ఎంత డిమాండ్ కావాలో, so the load is load if you know, right? Load అనేది by using load forecasting you will know, right? So when you know the load, so then equating to this load you have to generate the power, right? Apart from not only you have to generate the power which is equal to PL, but also you have to generate the power which has to supply the losses also. Okay, so why? Because there is just transmission losses. So now generated power must be equal to generated load demand plus these losses. So but these losses will, how you can determine? So before the load flow solution, you cannot determine the loss. Why? Because current will be VI, sorry II, this current will be determined after completing the load flow solution. Before completing the load flow solution, how much of current is flowing through the transmission line, you don't know. Because of that reason, loss also you don't know, right? So when you don't know the loss, how much amount of power you should generate, that you don't know. So that is what I want to say. Okay, so this is the problem in the power flow problem. So all the generation variables PG QG cannot be specified unless the losses are not known priori. So ముందే మనకు losses తెలియదు కాబట్టి you don't know how much PG and QG should be specified at the generator. Okay, so now for this, the solution of this is you have to choose one bus as the reference bus, so where voltage magnitude and angle are specified, and these losses are assigned to this bus. Okay, so solution for this problem is that out of all the buses, one bus you have to consider it as the reference bus. So that bus is called a slack bus. Okay, so the slack bus or reference bus, both are you can both names you can say. So this slack bus will supply these losses. Okay, so that means this slack bus is a large generator bus. Okay, so this will supply the losses. Suppose if you are having 5 buses, right? Out of these 5 buses, one bus will be considered as a slack bus. So this slack bus will supply these losses. Okay, so that you will do the analysis for other four buses. Okay, you will determine the active and reactive powers for other buses. Okay, so this slack bus will supply the power to supply the losses, sorry, right? So now if you observe again classifications of bus bars, so classifications of bus bar you again define. So how many classifications are there? There are 3 types. So there are 3 types of classifications. So which is slack bus. So slack bus is also called as swing bus or reference bus, right? So now this slack bus, there is only one slack bus here. In a power system, you should have only one slack bus. So the main purpose of this slack bus is to supply the losses, right? మనము PG is equal to PL plus losses kada, right? So these losses will be supplied by the slack bus only. Okay, so now this slack bus, for convenience, it is assumed to the assumed to as bus number 1. So while doing the load flow calculations, so bus 1 will be treated as a slack bus. So that means slack bus will be considered as the bus 1, right? So this slack bus is a large generator bus. So wherever there is a generation, large generation, so that bus will be considered as a slack bus, and it will be represented as bus number 1. Now, so this is also called as a reference bus. So at which magnitude of voltage will be specified. V1. ఇక్కడ 1 అంటే bus number 1. So V1 at an angle delta 1. Typically it is equal to 1 at an angle 0 degrees in per units. Okay. At a slack bus, you will be specified voltage and delta. Okay. As I said before, at every bus you will be having 4 variables, out of which 2 variables will be specified, 2 other variables you have to calculate. So depending upon which 2 variables are specified, the buses are classified into 3 types mainly: slack bus, PV bus, and PQ bus, right? So in the slack bus, so there is only one slack bus will be there. So with, that slack bus will be represented with bus number 1, and at the slack bus, this voltage V and delta are specified and is equal to 1 at an angle of 0 degrees. That means magnitude of voltage V is 1 per unit, delta is 0 degrees. So then you have to calculate the P1 Q1. So P and Q you have to calculate for the slack bus, right? As slack bus is bus number 1, so P1 Q1 you have to calculate at this bus from the power flow problem. Okay, right? So then next another bus, second bus is the PV bus. So PV bus, it is also called as generator bus, or you can also call it as voltage controlled buses. So now at this bus, power demand and reactive power demand, real power and reactive power demands are known priori, and magnitude of VI and PI are specified, and you have to calculate the QI and delta. Okay, so now at the PV bus, out of these 4 variables P, Q, and magnitude of V and delta, out of these 4 variables at PV bus, P and V are specified. That means this P is specified and magnitude of V, these 2 are specified. So that means injected power, injected real power is specified, magnitude of voltage will be specified, right? So that means P and V are input variables. So now this Q and delta you have to calculate from the load flow solution. Okay, so Q and delta are the unknown variables. So then if such buses are called generator bus. Okay, so in simply saying, all the power plants where generators are there, so that bus is considered as a generator bus, and this bus is also called as voltage controlled bus. So the magnitude of voltage at this bus can be controlled. So because of that reason, this is also called as voltage controlled bus. Now at this voltage controlled bus, you can also connect the generators, shunt capacitors, static wire systems. Okay, at this generator bus you are connected with generators, shunt capacitors, and static wire systems, right? So minimum and maximum limits of this equipment can be also be specified. So that means at a generator bus, you are not only connected the generators, but also shunt capacitors and static wire systems also connected along with the generator. So what these shunt capacitors and static wire systems will do, shunt capacitors and static wire systems will improve the reactive power. That means this will supply the reactive power. Okay, so now these shunt capacitors and static wire systems will supply the reactive power. So then that how much amount of reactive power can be supplied by these equipment. So that means these equipment, so it will be, that means these two equipments will have some limits. So suppose if you take the shunt capacitor, it will supply the reactive power into the system, right? So how much it can supply, how much amount of power it can supply. So there will be some limits, Q minimum and Q maximum limits are there. Okay, so that Q minimum and Q maximum limits are also specified at the PV bus along with these two. Okay, are you understood, ma? Out of 4 variables PQ, magnitude of V, and delta. At PV bus, what I said, in the name itself it is there, PV, which is generator bus. You will be having these two parameters which are specified. So these two, Q and delta, are unknown variables. Okay, so that means when there is only generators are connected with the bus, right? So suppose if the shunt capacitors and static VR systems also connected at the generator bus to improve the reactive power, so then these equipment, shunt capacitor and static VR systems, will have some limits for supplying the reactive power. So those are called the Q minimum and Q maximum, right? So right, these Q minimum, Q minimum, maximum, these two also will be specified at this bus. What I want to say is, along with the P and magnitude of V, these Q minimum and Q maximum will also be specified parameters at the PV bus, right? At the PV bus, you can also connect another equipment, which is tap changing transformer. So if tap changing transformer is also connected at this bus bar, so then you can compute the tap setting A, so from the load flow solution. Okay. So then another bus is PQ bus. So this PQ bus is also called as load bus. So that means at this bus only loads are connected. So there is no generation. That means P and Q. So these two only will be specified, and magnitude of voltage and delta, these two are unknown variables. So at PQ bus, active power, P and Q, active power and reactive power, injections are known, and magnitude of V and delta you have to calculate from the power flow solution. Okay, right. So now if you read this sentence, at this bus net power injected PI QI are known. Why? Because demands, what is the amount of load connected to this bus, these are known from the load forecasting, and generations are specified at this bus. Okay, PG and QG are specified, so injections are known. So now unknown variables are magnitude of V and delta. So now a pure load bus is a PQ bus. So pure load bus is nothing but there should not be any generating facility. That means generation at this bus is 0. Okay. So these are the classifications of buses, right? So once again, you rewind all three buses. There are three types of buses: slack bus, PV bus, PQ bus, right? At the slack bus, there is only one slack bus will be there. So at this slack bus, voltage and V and delta are specified, right? And P and Q you have to determine from the load flow solution. And PV bus lo P and V are specified, and Q and delta you have to calculate. At PQ bus, P and Q are specified, and V and magnitude of V and delta you have to determine. Okay. Right. Now, if you observe the data required for the load flow solution, right? So what are the different types of data you require for this load flow solution? So from the types of buses, you will know. Okay. So first you need the system data, right? System data includes what are the number of buses. So out of n number of buses, how many are the PV buses, how many are the loads, and how many are the transmission lines, how many number of transformers are there, how many shunt elements are there, right? What is the slack bus number, and what is the voltage magnitude of the slack bus. So slack bus దగ్గర మనకు voltage and delta you know, right? The angle will be generally taken as 0 degrees. So the voltage magnitude is how much. So tolerance, what is the tolerance limit, right? What is the base ME, what is the maximum permissible number of iterations. So now load flow solution is calculated by the iterative techniques. So how many iterations it should take, all the system data should be specified. Okay, right? So another one is the generator bus data. So generator bus data, in the sense, at generator what is the data you should know. At every PV bus, generator bus is also known as PV bus, right? So the data required includes what is the bus number. So what is the bus number, right? So what is the active power generated at this bus, right? And what is the specified voltage magnitude V, At PV bus, what you should know, P and V you should know. So then you should know the bus number as well as bus P generation and V specified. Along with this, reactive power limits Q minimum and Q maximum should also know. Okay. If you consider the generator bus, what is the data you should know? So which are PV along with Q minimum and Q maximum you should know. Now load data. So if it is a load bus, so then all the loads data required to include bus number. You should know the bus number, active power demanded by the load, and reactive power demanded by the load. So these two parameters you should know at load bus. Okay. So then transmission line data. Suppose if there are the transmission lines in the system, so transmission line data you should know. So that means transmission line data in the net, nothing but, so if you take one transmission line, so this what are the buses? What are the two buses between which the transmission line is connected? So you should know the bus number I and K. So to which the transmission line is connected. Okay. So these are bus number I and K between which the transmission line is connected, and also starting bus I, ending bus K. Along with that, resistance of the line you should know, and reactance of the line you should know, and half line charging admittance. So now you know that every transmission line is represented with pi model. Okay. So pi model means these shunt elements are the charging admittances. Okay. So these charging admittance you should know, resistance of the line you should know, reactance of the line you should know. Along with that, so between which buses it is connected, so those bus numbers also you should know. Okay. So this is the transmission line data you should know. And then transformer, if there are a transformer, so then what is the data you should know. So now the transformer is connected between which buses, so bus numbers you should know. Along with that, resistance of the transformer you should know, reactance of the transformer you should know, and if the transformer is a half nominal transformer, so then turns ratio also you should know. Okay. Then along with that, shunt element data, as I said before, so this shunt element data also you should know, right? So which includes the at which bus it is connected, that shunt element where it is connected, that bus number you should know, and the what is the value of shunt admittance, that is also you should know. This is the data required for the load flow analysis. Okay. Right. Within 2 minutes I will conclude. The last slide. Right. The same thing what I said before. What is the data required for load flow? So mainly there is, you should know the bus data as well as line data. So as I said, buses are three types, right? How many buses are connected? So they, suppose if you take one problem, right? You take one problem. So this is first one is bus. So there is a 5-bus system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are having 5 buses. So these 5 buses, out of this, first bus is swing bus, which is slack bus also you can call, and second bus is PQ, and third is PV. 4 and 5 are PQ buses. Okay. So now, if it is a swing bus or slack bus, what parameters you should know? You should know the voltage as well as delta. If it is a slack bus, you should know the voltage and delta. So that voltage magnitude is given here 1.03, and delta angle is generally for slack bus it is taken as 0 degrees. Okay. And no power generation will be specified. PG will not be specified. QG will not be specified, and PL and QL also 0 here. So no limits for Q minimum, Q maximum also not specified at the slack bus. At a slack bus, there only two parameters are specified. One is voltage magnitude, another is the load angle delta. So load angle delta at slack bus generally taken as the 0 degrees. Okay. So suppose if it is a PQ bus, second bus is the PQ bus. At PQ, in the name itself, it is, there are two parameters specified which are P and Q, right? So PQ, so P and Q, these are the injected active power and reactive power. Suppose if P2, Q2 are injected active and reactive powers. So injected power is nothing but generation minus demand, as I said before. Generation minus demand. That means you should know the both generation and demand to know the P2. Okay. So at PQ bus, generation PG is given, QG is given, PL is given, QL is given. So that means this P and Q can be determined. So that means those two are specified. You have to calculate the V and delta. And Q minimum and Q maximum are not specified. Okay, so Q minimum and Q maximum, these are specified only to PV bus. So if there is a PV bus, so at PV bus, what are the elements specified? P and V. So that means P here is nothing but P generation and P demand will be specified. That means P generation is specified and P demand, so PL, this is also specified here. Okay, along with that, if there is a sent elements are static wire systems are connected, those will supply the Q. So that means this QL will be specified here, right? So along with the QL specified, they also Q minimum and Q maximum also specified. Okay, you remember this. Q minimum and Q maximum will be specified only at PV bus. Okay, at PV bus, if there are sent capacitors are connected, sent capacitor to improve the reactive power, right? They will supply the reactive power. That means QL they will supply. What is the amount of QL supplied by those sent capacitors, and what is the minimum rating and maximum rating for those? So those data will be specified. Okay, and the fourth and fifth are the again PQ bus only. So here PG, QG, PL, del, QL will be specified. So this is the bus data specified here. And line data, if you observe the line data, so line data is a transmission line which is connected between which bus and which bus. That bus to bus data you should know. So one transmission line is connected between 2 and 4, another is connected between 2 and 5. So like this. Okay, like this there are 5 transmission lines. Along with the transmission line bus data, bus to bus data, you should also know the resistance of the line, reactance of the line, and this is the shunt admittance. As I said before, transmission line is modeled with pi model. So what is this shunt capacitance? So capacitance, this is in the conductance is 0, conductance 0, shunt capacitance will be specified 1.72, right? And what is the maximum MVA per unit in per unit? So this transmission line cannot be supplied with so much amount of current. So it is also having some limit for power delivery, right? So what is the maximum limit of MVA that can be supplied by this line? That is also will be specified. So these are the parameters which should be specified for line data. Okay. So now if you observe the same problem, now you are having bus type, bus type. So you are having one swing bus, you are having one swing bus, and PQ buses are 3 from the above problem. 3 PQ buses are there, 1, 2, 3, right? And PV bus is only one, third one, right? So there are total number of buses are 5 buses. Now specified quantities are V and delta for swing bus, P and Q are for PQ bus, P and V for PV bus. So specified quantities are 10 total. Okay, right? So if you count this, right, V delta, only one swing bus is there. So V and D delta, these two are 2 parameters. And PQ bus అనేది 2 ఉన్నాయి. So 3 ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి, so 3 into 2 6, right? 6 plus 2 8, and for PV bus another 2. Total 10 quantities are specified here, right? Now how many number of equation you should form for load flow solution? Now as at the swing bus, V and delta are given. So generally power flow problem is to determine this V and delta. Now if you know the V and delta, you don't require any equation. So for slack bus the equation is not required. So state variables are also 0. Now at PQ bus you will be having 2 equations. Okay, from the you remember the static load flow equation, there are 2 equations, P and Q. Okay, at PQ bus those two has to specify, P and Q has to specify, right? So as there are 3 number of PQ buses, 3 into 2, there are 6 equations you should get. Okay, so every equation will be having, so every PQ bus will be having two equations. So total number of variables are 6, right? And PV bus, now here there is no Q is not specified, only P is specified. So from the static load flow equation, in case of PV bus, there should be only one equation you should form, only for P, not for Q. Okay, So a total of 7 equations you should get for this problem, right? And state variables. Now, if you observe state variables, total are 7. So this is the data required for the analysis of load flow. Okay. So now this analysis of load flow is nothing but you have to determine the voltage and current. So not voltage and current, voltage and delta at each and every bus. So this is our ultimate aim. So from the load flow solution, at each and every bus, you should know the what is the magnitude of voltage, what is the delta angle, and what is the power injected, what is the reactive power injected, and if you want an extra data, so what is the line power losses. So everything you will know the from the load flow solution. Okay. So this is about the static load flow equations as well as the data required for the load flow solution. Okay. So now from the next class onwards, we will start the iterative techniques. So now to solve these static load flow equations, as I said before, static load flow equation P and Q are the nonlinear equations. So you have to use the iterative methods. So now there are different methods, iterative methods are available. So which are Gauss-Seidel method, Noether-Raphson method, decoupled method, fast decoupled method. These are the 4 methods which are available. We will study both 4 in our discussion in the coming classes. Okay. Right.